This is the first What's on Tap episode in 2021, but it's our last trip to PA for this season. There's a couple months left in this season, don't get worried, but a couple months is only like 8 episodes.
Yeah. So while the GPS might tell you we're in Montrose, PA, we're really hanging out in the small little part of Franklin Forks, PA, where we're going to find out what's on tap at Endless Brewing. Across the nation, people have turned the hobby of crafting beer into a lifestyle. Amazing breweries are only a few minutes away from your own home.
From nano to regional or micro to macro, the question you won't need to ask is what's on tap. Endless Brewing opened up back in 2012 when Morgan and Jonathan had been home brewing and decided we really got something going on here.
Yep, from that home brewing, they worked their way up to a 1-barrel system, and now what they have behind us, they're always looking to expand and create beers that people are coming from all over to try.
Let's go check it out.
Let's do it. All right, so Morgan, thank you so much for having us down here. We're excited to be here. Can you give us a little bit of background info? When did you get Endless Brewing started?
I would say welcome. We're glad to have you here.
Yeah, thank
you. We opened in June of 2012, so we've been in it for a little over 8 years now. Opened in the same building that we're in, but with a much smaller system. We were actually brewing off a 1-barrel system when we opened. Went to a 4-barrel system at one point, and now we're brewing off of our current 7-barrel system.
So this is one of the longer running breweries that we've been to so far. A lot of them have been starting the last like 3-4 years. So you guys, you're well established in this area then. And that's got to be pretty big considering it is a fairly small town that you're in.
It's a non-existent town that we're in. Technically this little cluster of houses is Franklin Forks, and we're a Montrose mailing address. Montrose is like 6 miles away. We have great regulars. Summer is obviously busier than winter. Weekends are usually a little busier than weekdays, but yeah, we keep the same hours year round. Yeah, I have awesome people here.
What are some of the staple beers you got here on tap?
So definitely our flagship is our Bombshell Blonde IPA. Really nice, I would say it's more of a West Coast IPA. Solid Cascade for bittering, and then we use Faulkner's Flight, which is kind of an unusual blend for the flavor and aroma hops. Kind of on the equal and opposite end of things, we have a amber beer, and we do alternating honey and maple versions of it. So that kind of hits the soft spot for the non-hop lovers. Always try to keep up something dark, a brown, a stout, or a porter. Always try to have a Belgian on tap of one kind or another, and usually a cider, but my cider's fermenting right now.
You've talked about the growing for going from the 1-barrel system now to a 7-barrel system and having this expansion. What are some of the future goals with Endless? It's been around now for a couple of years.
I would say we can keep up brewing wise at this point. We really need to expand our customer space. Prior to the whole pandemic thing, our tap room was ridiculously cramped at points. There were some of the nights we would have music where you'd have a band crammed in the corner here where we're sitting, and then probably 30 more people crammed out there. And obviously no one's comfortable with that anymore. Yeah. And we'd been talking for quite a while about doing an addition, and we're really talking about that right before the shutdown. And now that we've made it through the summer, it's kind of you know what? This is the most crazy, weird time to expand, but we're kind of at a point where we have no choice, where it's we need to expand. In order to survive, we need to expand.
That's the thing, you got to kind of adapt with the changes. And it seems like just when we pulled in, there's a good amount of space here that you can kind of get creative with how you want to do your expansion.
Yeah, we're really lucky being on a 4-acre parcel, so that over the summer people were able to really spread out, enjoy the outdoors. Our patio is really big. People were going to able to go down and hang out by the creek and wade in the creek with their kids where they're having a pint, so that worked out really nice. I think our current vision is actually to turn the barn into the brew pub, keep the tap room for to-goes only, but that'll also let John move all of the dry ingredients out here, possibly restart our barrel aging program. So,
being in New York, we're always going to New York breweries, and we're always talking about how, we use this much New York ingredients, and I always find it interesting when, now this is our 3rd PA brewery we've been to, which fairly close to New York, but still in PA. What are, are you guys where are you guys getting your hops? Are you guys getting a lot of PA ingredients and malts?
PA hasn't, I wish PA had done as strong of a push to encourage PA agriculture for breweries and to like give PA breweries more of an incentive to support their small agriculture. Our malt mostly comes through North Country Malt Group. They're out of Lake Placid, but they source their malt all through North America. Hops, we get through like spot hops lists where they'll send us a list of what's available to buy. We've also gotten some of our hops through Willet Hop and Grain, which you guys are probably familiar with them. They're right up in New York State. Chuck and Judy are really awesome. Our ciders, we get all of our raw ciders like really, really locally. The one cider we source in Brackney, the other cider we source down in Laceyville. So like whenever we do anything like small agriculture related like that, we absolutely try to source as local.
Fruited beers, things like that. Okay.
Try to source as local as possible. Another thing where we've been forced into doing food with the whole pandemic thing, which I swore black and blue I would never open that can of worms, but everyone's been really psyched about. I'd like to actually next year start doing like on-site gardening and stuff so we can use more like on-premise ingredients.
Yeah, you can see where your food is coming from. That's awesome. Are you doing any sort of canning to go? Do you have cans, anything like that? Or doing growlers?
We were using a mobile canner. We ended up switching to canning ourselves. We ended up stopping canning because it was a pain in the ass. Yep. Once again, we hit the whole pandemic thing where we were only doing to go for a while and we wanted to start canning again, and cans are really, really, really hard to source. To the point where I was considering going super old school for Christmas and getting 22-ounce bomber bottles to fill. Like way back. We talked a little bit about the front half of the business. What do you guys think? Go check out it back.
Yeah, let's go see how it's made. Let's
go. So we hop back to the brewery. So Jonathan's not here. He does a lot of your brewing?
Jonathan is my business partner. He's the brewmaster. We started home brewing together, but he is truly the true genius back here. Like he does all of our recipe formulation. He's also like the mechanical master of everything that needs to go on too.
So you guys started home brewing together?
Yes, we did.
And when did you guys start that?
Started that about 4 years before we opened the brewery. We were actually brewing full barrels at homebrewers level before we even opened the business.
Wow.
So yeah, it was something we got really into, really passionate about. I would say for him it was almost the intersection of two interests because he was an industrial mechanic and fabricator for career-wise, and he's also like an amazing cook. Just like an amazing home cook.
They brought it all together here. Mm-hmm. So you knew pretty early on that you had something here.
Yeah, when people started wanting to buy our home brew out of the basement and get growlers from us in the basement, that was kind of like, okay, this is like brewing is a thing now. Like,
it's a good sign.
Yeah, let's go.
If you have people buying out your basement.
And then what really sparked it was the position at the plant he worked at was eliminated, and it was kind of like, okay, you don't have a job, let's do this. Let's do this.
A nice brewing section here. I can see definitely you got a lot of fermenters, a lot of things in tanks right now. What are we seeing here? Saison here.
Right here.
Yeah, I would say, so looking behind you, this is my fermenting section. I have 5 7-barrel fermenters, so they are 210 gallons each. I also have one 10-barrel fermenter, so that's 330. Everything is pretty much full right now. This one has the rest of the finished Saison in it that you guys tried. Next one over is my hard cider. That one is just finishing fermenting, so I'm hoping to get this up on tap next week. This stuff we source from Jane's Orchards, and they're a 7th-generation orchard in Laceyville, and they are amazing. A fermenter of course, our IPA, because we have to have the bombshell on tap. Our Imperial IPA, the amber base. So, and then I've got one empty back in the corner that we need to brew in.
Constantly going. How often are you back here brewing?
We usually brew at least once a week. With everything that's happened though, it's at right now kind of like more like every 10 days or every other week. You kind of have to time things out where it's like, if you empty one of the fermenters, you fill up the walk-in. You have to climb over kegs to get to other kegs. So everything's like a delicate balancing act here, just space-wise. But usually once a week, 200 gallons at a time.
Looking at these beers, I'm ready to try them. Everything sounds so good. I mean, I think it's time, right?
Yep, let's do it. It's time for us.
4-4.
What camera
we were looking at, it doesn't matter. I think we'll go with either one. So pour 4. Where are we starting here?
I would probably start with the honey amber personally. Start at the notch and head counterclockwise. Super straightforward. A lot of the flavor is actually coming from the Grambinus honey malt in it. We do use about 3 pounds of local honey, and we alternate this beer. Every other time we'll do it honey or maple, depending.
I'm tasting a lot of that honey right now. I can see. I want to. So you don't have the maple one now? I'd love to try a maple one. I'm a big maple guy, but man, I'm getting a lot of that sweetness. It's like I love honey because it's just such a natural sweetener. And
yep, I was saying we get our honey from the Endless Mountain Apiaries. They're about 8 miles up the road that way. And then when we do the maple one, we get it from Stonecrop Farms, and they're our neighbors just about 3 miles in the other direction.
I love ambers. I mean, you can never go wrong with an amber ale. I think those are just it's such a great, you can have, that's kind of beer that you can go with anything. I mean, just go with anything. It's like you're sitting down, watching TV, have an amber ale. It's relaxing. It's a very relaxing beer. Add the honey to it, it gives it that little bit of sweetness where it's not too much. It makes it feel so like comforting. It's a great comforting feeling with this beer. Love that.
Yep. And usually with ambers, I feel like you get a little more maltiness. You have some of that. It's there. It almost like it hints at the maltiness rather than the honey.
It feels like they kind of join together. The malt and the honey really
very
complement
harmonious.
each other. Yeah.
And with the honey, when you have straight honey, whenever I have a sore throat, I always will take a couple spoonfuls of honey, and it really sits there on your tongue. You get that aftertaste, and that's what I'm getting with this too. It's not like it's not like the upfront, boom, in your face honey. It's much more subtle, and then it sits there, it lingers, and it's very, very nice.
Painter Hill Porter. Painter Hill is the name of the mountain right behind us. That is actually where the stone that is our countertops was sourced from. And Jonathan's grandfather actually cut this back when he was still alive. We actually don't use any black malt. We use a lot of chocolate malt, and then I want to say it's like 160 to 180 caramel. So nice cascade bittering, Columbus for your flavor hops, no dry hop obviously.
Another one that it's not heavy.
No, very light.
You're definitely getting those chocolate malt with it, and you're saying with the caramel too. I mean, it's another one that complements well with each other. Who doesn't like that? Yeah. But still, it ends up being a lot. I think that's what porters do. It's just like what you can do with beers.
It really is. Like this time of year, these are so great, and it's warming me up a little bit as I'm drinking, but you get that chocolatey note, you get the roastiness in there, the little bit of maltiness. It's just very, very well balanced, and it's beautiful to look at too. The color is amazing.
Pretty much our end goal is to make your choice in life difficult as possible beer-wise.
Well, we're 2 for 2 in that. I mean, this is what I can see a lot of people are reaching for right now.
And then on to our next.
Saison.
Saison-Trois. We use a Belle Saison yeast, so you get like a lot of most of your flavor is coming from the yeast. With a lot of Belgians like that, you'll find that your flavors are coming more from the yeast esters than they are more so from the malt or the hops. And that definitely tricks a lot of people because they will say, I don't like wheat beers, but what they don't like is wheat beers that are fermented with a Belgian yeast. So that's always an interesting thing to me. This one we also use a lot of rye in it, so some of the bitterness and earthy spiciness is coming from the rye.
I need to hear it to be like, oh yeah, there it is.
And it's an all-year beer. It really is. Like, obviously it'd be great in the summer.
Yeah.
I think that's when a lot of people are kind of looking for this style of beer, but at the same time, you could be sitting there in the middle of winter and be drinking this just as easily.
Feels like what you were just saying. It's like one of the lighter beers you can really continue on. Not that you can't drink a light beer throughout the whole year. I prove that. But still, it's just like one of the ones that you want to reach towards is one of these even as it gets colder. Because it's just got a ton of flavor in it. And it's all about the flavor right now. Yeah. I mean, what can you get out of beer? And this beer, awesome.
I think that's the beauty of craft beer. You are able to take it to another level with the flavor. You're not just doing your straight 4 main ingredients. Like, you're going above and beyond, and really, all these so far have been a testament to that, for sure. All right, this is Grasshopper Pale Ale. Bits of real grasshopper right here.
Absolutely. No, ironically, I get often asked if there's mint in it because of like the grasshopper cocktail. Kind of our lawn and garden beer, really flavorful, lower in alcohol. something that you can sip on throughout the day as you're doing stuff or goofing off.
I love pale ales. I love pale ales. It's just like, I don't know, because when the pale ale, well, I think of Pilsner. I always like, you can look at them side by side and be like, oh, they're both, very similar color, a pale ale and Pilsner. But the Pilsner is just such a, it's a very beer. It's just, you know what I mean? Like,
it's a beer.
Yeah. And you really, there's so much you can do with that. But then when you want to like have those hops and you want to like taste what a hop can really do, you go to the pale ale, you're getting a little bit more flavor. And right here,
And I feel with the lighter malt backbone that it allows the hops to really shine through too.
Absolutely. So this week, we just moved into a new house. We've been painting like crazy.
Oh, God bless you.
Morning, nights. I've been drinking a ton of pale ales. So you say lawn mowing beer, I say painting beer.
Absolutely.
I think it works. Like one of those beers that you're kind of doing something and you can just keep drinking, and it's refreshing, it's flavorful, it's exactly what you're looking for. And this is exactly that.
Yeah. Another one, I can drink this all day.
Absolutely.
Yeah, lawnmower and beer, that's what it's all about. Drink it all day long.
Yep, so this is our Bombshell Blonde, this is our flagship, this is our IPA.
Yeah, I see what you're saying with the West Coast style. A little more bitter,
A little bit more bitter.
a little more earthy, but I feel like if you're looking for a true style IPA, that's what you're coming in for. Yeah. That's exactly what you're looking for. We always talk about the craze of New England's, like the much more sweet, citrusy type deal. But if you're looking for a tried and true, old school IPA, stay to your roots.
I mean, this is one of the smoothest beers, too. For even as an IPA, I mean, it's at first the forward part you're getting on this beer is just nice. It's super light the way it goes down. It's nothing. It's not even like an attack. It's just like you really can just sit there and enjoy this. And having a flagship with IPA, that's always great. Yeah. I mean, you nailed the IPA. You have nailed this beer. This is awesome. If you want a true IPA, this is exactly what I'm thinking. This is what you want. Tastes delicious.
Yeah.
All right, there you go.
Just take a sip and just let it sit for like a couple of seconds and really take in the flavor. It's unbelievable.
Cheers, guys. Glad you enjoyed.
Cheers. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Can we can do the bottom part maybe?
Absolutely.
There we go.
Everywhere else that I go that I compare against here, it's very hard to hold up to. So this has been the go-to, whether I'm down in North Carolina or up in Vermont. This is always the go-to that I come back to. Whether it's a summer of IPAs or it's a fall with a couple of darker beers, or wintertime with some really good stouts. They never disappoint me at all.
If anybody in the area wants to have you on tap somewhere, whether it be a restaurant, anything in the area, how would they go about doing that?
PA restaurants, come and talk to me. I will be happy to be on tap. I'm on tap at a few different local restaurants in the area. We're at our Meadows down in Gibson. We are at the Brackney Inn over in Brackney. We're at the Tall Pines Players Club out in Friendsville.
So that wraps up our day here at Endless Brewing. Thank you so much to Morgan. Jonathan, we didn't get to meet him, but the beers are incredible. So thank you for making those beers. Marty, who did the YouTube exclusive with us, who also was a part of the custom reviews that we had. Awesome day. The beers are incredible here.
Yeah, it was so cool to try Marty's at his age, but also all the fresh beers that they had on tap today. Absolutely worth the drive no matter where you're coming from. Easy for us, no matter where you are. This is a must-stop place. Be sure you subscribe to our YouTube page, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, everywhere you can, so you can find out where our journey takes us next on What's on Tap.
Cheers. Another beer.